Perfect.
Yo, what's good, YouTube? This your boy Truth here. I just wanted to start this video off by saying thank you to everybody that has dropped me some comments, and definitely hit the subscribe button. Much respect to every single one of you guys. I got a list of names here that I wanted to just give you guys a special shout out. Grape Drank, Rico Smooth, Al Gore, Brokens, Flying Eagle, Santiago, Ghost 277, Bobby Baldwin, The Midnight Show, John Solo, Steve Smith, CJ Walker, Joseph Vigil. Hey, Joseph, keep your head up, bro. I hope everything goes well with you, man. Your story, your comment definitely touched home with me to the fullest, bro. I definitely hope everything gets well for you, and just keep pushing forward, man. That's all I can say. Just try to do right. Curtis P, Hardhead DJ, Jack McLean. We got Southern Cali, Dero Flower, Chris Vasquez, and Corey Brewer. Thank you to every single one of you guys. If I didn't say your name, I'll probably get to it on the next video. But so this video here, I'm going to be talking about an altercation that had arisen while I was in prison, and it was a violent altercation amongst two gang rivals. Now, when I was incarcerated, I got moved straight to a program called STG. And STG stands for Severe Threat Group. It's a gang program that they threw me in when I first got to prison. Not right away. I think I sat in, they call it R&O. It's R&O is like a processing building, pretty much, where they try to figure out where they're going to house you at before they send you to your assigned location. But being that I was an active gang member at the time, I had to go do that program. And that program was probably one of the worst places that I've did time at while I was incarcerated. And like I said, there was a lot of violence. I witnessed a lot of violence while I was in there. But I remember when I first went to the building, there was a floor. They called it the floor. And it's just basically where the cops bring you in and they process you. They ask you your name, who do you ride with, and then that type of stuff. But at the time, like, I wasn't trying to admit like I was a gang member or anything like that. I was like, I don't even know why I'm here, that type of stuff. I was trying to belittle the situation, but they already assigned me there. I was in it for the long haul, to be honest with you guys. That program was a year program. As long as you didn't get into any trouble while you were there in the program, you were able to move to a different location within the prison. And at the time, so I'm 20 years old. I think I was 20 years old. It was probably around 2006 or 2000. No, it was 2007. It was in 2007 to 2008, I believe. And I remember walking into the building, and there was a section that's off to the right. There's 3 sections, and each section has 64 cells. And so there's a lot of people there in those units that are active gang members. And so I remember walking up, because there was a window that you could see from where you're standing into all the other sections. And I remember seeing that one section was, everybody in the section was out, like moving around. They were active inside the section, just doing their day-to-day activities within the section. And then I look off to the right side, and that side was completely locked down. The section that was straight ahead of me was locked down. Now there's, like I said, there's a section off to the right, a section off to the left, and there's a section straight ahead. But in between those sections, there is a cop station. We call it the bubble. and that's where the cops pretty much control. It's like their control station. They control all the doors within that unit. So if you have to go through a door, they'll pop you through that door and then open up the next door to where you need to go. Well, I remember looking into the section where everybody was at, and I remember seeing these two big old Polynesian dudes, man. Huge, probably like 6'5", 250, 260, just solid, like massive dudes. And they're over there lifting 50-pound water bags like it's nothing. And I'm showing up there probably 175 pounds. I'm 20 years old, and I'm looking around just like, damn, this is where I ended up at. And I know that these dudes are about their shit. Like, they're training every day, making sure that they're well fit just in case some active pops off. You know, that's what people do when they're in prison. They train every day, so that way if something pops off, they're fit to go to war. That's pretty much the best way I can explain it to you guys. Everybody that's an active gang member, they're supposed to work out every day. Every day they're supposed to work out, to be honest with you guys. Every gang has their own little workout system. Everybody pretty much works out at a set time. They all pretty much get together and like organize, you know, their set time for working out. So that way there's no conflict within the section. It just makes the program run smooth, so that way everybody gets along smoothly. Well, so they put me in one of the sections that's completely locked down for like the first 3 months, and they wanted to see how well I did interacting with other gang members. So at this point in time, I ended up doing good. I'm gonna have to make another video on other things that had happened, but there's a specific point that I'm trying to make, and that's the fight between two rival gang members, or two rival gangs, I should say. Anyways, I did good. I got to go to the first section where everybody's moving around active. Everybody's, you know, out in the section, open, whatever. And so I'm probably there for about like 3 months, and got to know everybody in the section. And the gangs that I'm talking about are the Southerners, which is the Southsiders, the Sureños, and then the other gang is Norteños, which are the Northerners. One gang wears red, the other gang wears blue. The Southerners, Southsiders, the Sureños wear blue, and the Norteños, they wear red. Well, at this point in time, there was, on this day, it was 8 on 8. And that they had in the section up to this point. But on this specific day where these two groups had interacted with each other, got into an altercation and committed violence, one of the Norteños, pretty much their head guy, went home this day. And I remember like saying, you know, peace out, you know, make sure you don't come back, that type of stuff, stay out of trouble, you know, congratulations on your release, that type of stuff. And it was probably about like 2 hours later, one of the Norteños went up to one of the Sureños, and a verbal altercation just started. And I can't remember exactly why it happened or what it was completely over, But all I remember is two guys started just firing on each other. And I mean like just swinging. And next thing you know, I start seeing like all the whites that were in the section, they just grouped up in their own little corner of the section. And then I started seeing like the Crips. With the Crips, you have blacks, you have Polynesians, whites, all representing Crips. And, you know, they even got in their own little area. And then the gang that I rode with, you know, we all grouped up in our own little corner as well. And as I'm observing everything, because everything goes quiet. Once words are being said or somebody gets real loud, like if somebody's having a verbal altercation, everything around you, everybody will just quiet. The section could be just loud as hell, and next thing you know, you can literally hear a pin drop, and all you hear is just swinging, fists swinging left and right. Well, as I'm watching these two guys go heads up, next thing you know, like I look up to the stair upstairs, and there's these other two guys that are going at it. And so to tell you guys, at first, when the day had begun, it was 8 on 8, if it would have cracked off like that. But one of the Norteños had went home. It was 8 on 7, and the Sureños had the extra number. And I'll tell you what, that one person made the difference. It was a game changer for those Sureños. Like, man, I really felt bad for a lot of these individuals that got into this altercation, because the damage that was done to these guys was brutal, extremely brutal. And when I had looked up, there was two guys fighting, and like there was guys fighting everywhere inside the section. When I looked up, I seen this Sureño. His name was Puppet, and this dude was probably about 200 pounds. Did his burpees every day, mandatory workout for those guys. That's one thing that I could say about the Sureños. They train every day, and they prepare themselves for these type of situations. And when it comes to them, they take things seriously. And like there's nothing but much respect to both groups. Like I don't have no problem with none of these groups. Never had a problem with any of these guys, but or these organizations, I should say. But this dude Puppet, man, he just ran up while one of his homies was just Stalin is hitting one of the Norteños. Puppet just came out of left field and just cracked this dude, dropped him, slept him. And I don't know if you guys ever watched the movie Toy Story, but this dude was laid out like this guy. I'm gonna show you a clip right now. But he was laid out like this dude, and I felt bad. Like I couldn't help but laugh, because that's what type of environment that I was in. Like, and that's the type of lifestyle that I had lived. Like, it was just chaos. But anyways, once he dropped that dude, he left, and his homie was just putting the boots to this guy. He was knocked out completely, but and putting the boots means like he was stomping this guy out. Like he was already out, but he was just stomping him. Like no stopping. Like these. So that's another thing that when these type of situations crack off, it doesn't stop until the cops stop it. Pretty much until the cops get there. it does not stop. And it literally, this unit, it was a vicious unit. Like, these cops that work there at this facility that I was in, they used to pop doors just so they can have action within their day. Like, they used to pop people's doors just so other people could get at each other, just so they can shoot pepper ball guns at us and stuff like that. Come in with riot shields, little stun grenades and stuff like that. But I watched Puppet run down these stairs, and one of his other homies was just teeing off on this guy in the middle of the section, and Puppet just came running out of nowhere. Bam! Just cracked this dude, side blind him. And this is a whole different guy. This guy literally, like, when he fell back, like he's standing straight up like this. This dude just went boom, straight back on his back. But when he fell back, his hands like locked up like this, and like he literally like fell backwards, and he was like locked, like his hands were locked like this, and he was shaking. Afterwards, that dude literally shit his pants. Like, he shit himself because he was knocked out, had no control over his bodily functions. Man, I felt bad for that guy too. I looked over to the right side. Now, I'm gonna show you a picture of a section and these tables. And this is how these tables are built in my section. Now, it's not the actual section. I tried to get a picture of the actual section. Unfortunately, the internet did not have one. But there was this guy that was in between the table and the stool. Like, I don't know how he got in between there, but he had two Southsiders jumping him, and like they had a slicer. I don't know if you guys know what a slicer is, but basically a slicer is, it's a razor. This is not a razor, but this is a pin, of course. But it's a razor that's attached to the end. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a razor that's attached to the razor handle, and you just leave the razor like probably standing out like that much, and you use the razor as a weapon, and you just, you know, just swing it, and if you cut somebody in their face, it's just gonna open up. It's gonna flay him pretty much. But they were just cutting this dude all over his face. Like, he was leaking blood everywhere. I looked over to further right, and man, I felt bad for this dude because he was Asian, but he was a norteño, a northerner. And he was a little guy. Like, he was probably 130 pounds. And like I said, when I first went to this unit, like, these guys, these other dudes are big guys, solid muscle dudes that train every day, that are ready for combat, pretty much ready for war. And I felt bad for this guy because he was a kid. I was a kid at the time. And this kid's name was Chino. And when I seen him get knocked out and he was bleeding out of his mouth, like, it kind of startled me for a second. What happens is I walked up to where this guy was just shaking. Like, his whole body was just shaking because he was knocked out. And I remember looking down at him, and my feet were just kind of like one on the left side of his ear and the other one on the right side of his ear. And I'm just looking directly down. And I remember telling one of my homeboys, like, hey, this dude's gonna die. And my homie, he got pissed off at me. Like, he was my older homie. And he was like, dude, what the are you doing over there? Get your over here. Like, are you serious? They're going to think that you're involved in that. Like, get over here. And so, you know, he kind of lectured me. But yeah, he was just trying to look out for me and make sure that I was all right. So I ended up going to my corner with my homies and just started observing everything else that was going on. I remember once they started shooting, so the cops finally came, they didn't break up the fight, but they gave orders for everybody inside the section to lock down. But before they gave orders, they just started shooting their paintball bullets, but they're pepper balls, and they have mace inside them, and the whole section was just covered in these pepper ball bullets. They had two cops. They have these little holes in the window where they just open up this little sleeve and they stick the gun inside, and they're able to start shooting whoever, wherever, to try to gain control of the situation. But yeah, they gave orders for everybody to lock down. If you did not get locked down, you would receive disciplinary action, get took into the hole. Basically, the hole is, it's called, it's a maximum security, which maximum security is, it's 23-in-1. You're locked down for 23 hours for a day, and you only get 1 hour out. I spent a lot of time in maximum security. But yeah, not over this situation. I did not partake in anything that involved this situation at all. But it was a pretty violent day, man. I remember. And so I remembered this norteño. After the sureños like calmed down, like this norteño, he was on the restroom while all this was going down, and he was late to the show. Like, I was surprised that he even came out of his room, because his homeboys were just getting done in. Like, and this guy, he was Polynesian. This is the first Polynesian that I ever seen a part of a Mexican gang. And man, he lit one of those sureños up. Like, he split his eye open. He was just uppercutting him. Like, he was just going like this, just uppercutting this little Southsider that was probably like 5'2", but he was just wrecking this dude. And it was pretty much done after that. They shot some more pepper ball bullets at them, and instructed both of them to get down on the ground, to make sure that they have their hands spread. And I remember looking out my door, and as they were taking every individual, like they went and grabbed every single individual. They made them get down. Then they came in a line. So when the cops breach a section, like, there's probably like 30 to 40, maybe even 50 cops that come just storming in. And, you know, they have their pepper ball guns. They have riot shields. Yeah, they came in, handcuffed every single individual, cuffed them, and they took them all out one by one. And it was a pretty eventful day, I should say. But that's something that's always stuck with me while being incarcerated, on how these type of situations arise, and they can happen very quickly. You don't have time to react in these situations at all. When they occur, they occur. And you have to be prepared. When you're incarcerated and you're living in a hostile environment, you have to be ready pretty much all times. when I was in there, I myself, like, I'm not proud to say this or anything, but I carried a shank on me all the time. I mean, I was already in there for committing murder, and I really didn't care. Like, I didn't care who I hurt or how I was going to hurt them or where I stabbed them. I was going to make sure that I was going to be the one that walked out of that place, and if I had to take somebody else's life while I was in there, that's something that I was willing to do while I was in there. But luckily for me, nothing like that had ever come about. But being incarcerated, it will open your eyes to how, like, life in there, it don't mean anything, I should say. Life don't mean anything to anybody in there. I mean, you have to make sure that you walk a proper line, because if you don't walk a proper line, you're going to find out the hard way. And the hard way is you'll either get removed off of the yard, either by helicopter. I've seen people get life flighted before. They'll send multiple people after you. They'll send 5, depending on how big you are, who you are as an individual. They'll make sure that you are off that yard if you do not conduct yourself properly. And you could be the biggest, baddest dude in there. There's always somebody bigger and badder in prison. Always. And when you get in prison, you realize that. You realize that you ain't as big and bad as you think you are. And so when you get a realization of that and just see how things happen in there, it will humble you. It will humble you. But yeah, that's my story on the Norteño and the Sureño situation. Like I said, I've never had any issues with either groups. I mean, it's always been much respect for both parties. But yeah, what I wanted to say is thank you again to everybody that has dropped me a comment. Hey, if there's anything that you guys want me to discuss, or if there's anything that you guys want me to talk about in these sessions, I will most definitely touch up on them. I know Grape Drink, he definitely wanted me to do a video on me and my mom, pretty much asking her questions on how the event took place where I committed murder, and how when she got stabbed and how that affected her. That's something that I did discuss with her. She did get emotional thinking about that night. So I can only imagine that it's going to bring up some stuff that she's tried to let go. But she said that she's up for it. So I'm going to have to set a time and a date, and we'll address that. But hey, straight up, man, I want to thank every single person, every individual that has tapped in and subscribed to the channel. When I started this channel, I think I was at like 230 or something like that. But within these last videos that I have posted, I'm literally up to 353 subscribers. And that's thank you to every single one of you guys that has hit the subscribe button. And my first video that I posted, this story landed a 19-year-old in prison for 13 and a half years. Man, that video has hit 2.6K within 13 days. So 2 weeks, it's hit 2.6K. I think it's gotten 106 likes. So you guys are doing your guys' part in helping me push this video out there and getting it to other people. The recap video that I did, it's hitting 186 views. I think that's only hit 14 likes, 16 likes, something like that, maybe 17. But I can't do this without you guys, man, without your guys' support. And hey, straight up, thank you for the positive feedback that you guys have provided, because I wasn't sure how these videos were going to turn out. I know that there's some people out there that, you know, they have their own little perception on prison and what it's about. And, you know, like Bob dropped the soap, or you dropped the soap in front of Bob, or, you know, just stupid shit like that. You know, people think that's how prison is because they maybe they watched a movie or something, American History X. I mean, who knows? I don't know. But I mean, some of those things do take place in prison. There are people that have raped people in prison. I mean, it's prison, but it's not your everyday thing. Like, I mean, it's all on how you conduct yourself and how you present yourself. If you're going to treat people with respect, you're going to get respect back. But yeah, huge shout out to everybody out there. Please do me a solid, man. Hit the subscribe button. If you guys are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Also hit the like button, because if you guys hit that like button, it's going to get this video out to other people out there on YouTube that might need to hear something that I'm basically, why I'm doing these videos is to share my story for one, but also I want to try to help people. You know, it's therapeutical for me to see that I'm actually helping other people, and it could be in any way. You know, just letting them know that their life is not that hard out here on the streets. Like, there are other people that are living life out of struggle, and there's people in prison that are going through a lot more violent day-to-day activities in there. But yeah, do me a favor, hit the like button. But like I always say, man, until next time, may God be with you guys. Peace out for now.